Well, hello people. I'd meant to film this this topic before the COVID crisis has landed upon us, and before Trudeau, our haircut at the helm, tried that little power move, make himself a dictator. Crisis when we really need him. What's he do? Tries to run an end play around everybody else. Nice work, pal. But anyways, to go back before that, and this is entitled Why the Prime Minister Must Be Brought Up on Charges. Well, if somehow you've managed to keep your head in the sand enough not to realize that, there's so many criminal actions he's pulled. Some people are going to argue this, they'll argue that, The ethics commissioner released the Trudeau 1 and the Trudeau 2 report saying he should be brought up before the ethics committee, have a look at. He blocked it in Parliament. Now, I don't know why the NDP, the Bloc Québécois, and the Green Party would back him in that. What kind of dirty in-house politics is that? I don't know. Any politician, especially the Prime Minister, his book should be open at any point in time. He should say, there they are, have a look. None of this. No, you can't look. No. That unto itself. If you can't see through that, what's he hiding? He's got to be hiding something. Real quick overview. He goes, was it a couple of years back, or was it when he first got in power? I don't know. He went down to some rich Arab oil sheik's place for a Christmas vacation on the taxpayer's dime. Not like he can't afford it himself. Billed us, the taxpayers. Rich Arab sheik. Yeah. Then what happens? Oil comes from Saudi Arabia. Doesn't come from the West. West goes broke. Then the SNC-Lavalin thing. Yeah. That kind of ties in with the sheik and his oil to some extent. So it would seem. And then it's coming to light now that the Trudeau Foundation, which he claims, he has nothing to do with, what is it, the Trudeau Watch Group? Well, they're not the only ones following this clown. They found that seems to be a correlation between, the leaders and whatnot from other leaders and businessmen from some other countries dumped a lot of money into the Trudeau Foundation for the haircut to run for Parliament in the first place. And seems to be a correlation there between the ones who donated to the Trudeau Fund and the ones who Trudeau donated our tax money to them. And I mean, $800 billion debt ran up in 4 years. Whoa! And look at some of the figures and where he gave the money to. Did he give $50 million to the Clinton Foundation? What? The Clinton Foundation in the States? What the hell do I want my tax money going to them for? What the fuck is that all about? $533 million, which is a small chunk, the way he throws it around, to China. Again, I'm talking all before the COVID crisis fell upon us here. Excuse me. Not only should he be willing, more than willing, to open his books at any point in time, he sure shouldn't be hiding them, and he shouldn't be getting away with hiding them. That's just wrong. Again, I don't know why the other parties aren't all over him. Usually you got a minority government. They're just waiting to jump on, the guy and call up another election. I don't know why they're not all over him about this stuff. Which leads me to the point of this ramble, why the Prime Minister must be brought up on charges, not should, must. If we brought him up, there's no doubt in my mind, and I can't see anybody could argue with me that in their mind, I mean, it's just too much, too many instances. Regardless, you bring him up on charges. Whoa, aren't the paper shredders and the delete button up in Ottawa going to be getting hammered away on there? Eh? What? Yeah. That's the whole point. You bring this clown up for the first time in Canadian history. Call him up. Bring him to the stand. Don't let him roll over. Don't let him make some plea bargain. No, bring him up on charges. And that'll wake up all the other hogs at the trough in Ottawa. They're going to go, whoa, hey, we're not going to be able to get away with this free reign, this gluttony at the trough where we throw, utilize, take, spend the taxpayers' money without having to answer for anything. We just, woohoo, party on. No, bring this clown up. I mean, he's guilty of treason. And again, I'm talking before the COVID crisis and his failed power play to create himself a dictator. If we bring this guy up, I mean, I've seen on Facebook and stuff, people, you know, sign, we'll get him to resign. He's not going to resign. What do you, can you envision him standing tearily up on the podium and going, well, I gave it my best shot, but apparently the Canadian populace doesn't have any faith in me, so I'll just step down and take the $1 billion with me that I raped you all for. No, he needs brought up on charges big time. And again, that's why. It's not just because he deserves it, more than deserves it. I mean, I'd knot the noose, I'd pull the handle, I got no problem. And I don't think there'd be any trouble finding volunteers for any of the gigs along the way. Hang that filthy thieving. Mutter. Curse. No, not only does he deserve it, but it would clean up our whole hogs at the trough system. They'd go, oh, wait a minute. We need to bring accountability into it big time. Again, their books, any one of them should be open at any point in time. You know, there should be some little commission or something where, you know, your name got pulled out of the hat, buddy. Open your books right now, not, you know, later when you find some stuff. Or I'm busy trying to create a dictatorship. I haven't really got time to show you my books. No, this guy, he's the worst of the worst. And, you know, polls show what, 70% of the people don't trust him. Well, what are the other 30% in a coma? Take a look at the guy. At every move, at every turn, every move he's made is corrupt. The money, you know, seeing something there's a few billion, $200 billion or something apparently unaccounted for. What? Yeah, how do you misplace that kind of money? I don't think it got misplaced. I think it got placed. It wasn't back in my pocket where he took it from. Now this guy, he's too much, man. He should be brought up on every charge conceivable. And to my way of thinking, that would be treason. And do we have high treason? He should swing from a rope. And, I don't know. Now we're stuck with him during an unprecedented crisis with this COVID virus. We have no idea what's going to go on. We've got you can't even call it leadership. We've got the shakiest, well, I guess there's no other word for it but leadership. The shakiest lack of leadership imaginable. It's frightening. It was scary and aggravating before the virus as to what was happening. This country's fracturing. The West wants to leave. Some of them to the point where they'd happily become American. I can't say as I blame them. Trudeau has really thrown a royal fucking into them. All that Arab money that comes through his pocket. Take a look. The facts are out there. At the expense of half of the country. And yet 30% of the people, what, they still think he's got a nice haircut? I don't know. I mean, common sense isn't all that common. I get it. But open your eyes, people. And, well, I don't know what's going to happen. You know, the COVID virus, everyone hopes, and I hope, and I kind of think that it's blown out of proportion. Whether it is or isn't, it's certainly thrown a wrench into the works, to put it mildly. It's played into his hand in a lot of senses. But whatever happens, it's hard to think we're not going to get out of this without some really big civil unrest. And he's going to try and blame it all on the virus, but it started long before the virus came along. In his first address to the nation, I think, where, see another video of mine, he was 40 minutes late, didn't even apologize or comment on it. Shows what kind of respect he has for the people. He said, we're in the enviable position of having all the resources in the world to throw at this. No, you already threw our resources all over the world. What are you talking about? We're going to have to borrow more money because you squandered and stole to the tune of $800 billion before the virus even came along. And then he's still flinging stuff around the world that we need, medical supplies and money. No, I don't know. I hope this virus doesn't play into his hand, no matter how the virus thing and what happens to that turns out. This guy's got to be brought up on charges. And let's hope he's, well, maybe we should just say, consider ourselves lucky he's just as dumb as what he is, or he might have got a little further along towards a dictatorship than what he has. Anyways, people, take care. And I hope everything works out well for all of us. And maybe the horse throws him, he lands in his head. I don't know. Take care.